G'day everybody. I thought I'd bring you down into one part of the veggie garden today just to explain a little bit of a problem about veggie garden maintenance. Something that is really easy to overlook, really easy to fix, but basically show you where I messed up. You can see here we've got some red oak leaf lettuce and some green oak leaf lettuce alternating all the way along the garden bed. And then behind that we've got wombok cabbage and we've got some leeks and some red or purple curly kale. But a couple of things I wanted to focus on today, you can see very, very easily. It's rather embarrassing. You can see looking at my wombok cabbage here, they've absolutely been annihilated by slugs. Now there's only two reasons that this has happened. Number one is that I got caught up with other commitments instead of coming down to the garden every week or so and just having a little bit of a look and seeing what the plants were doing. Now had I been coming down to the garden and just having a look and seeing what these plants were doing, I would have seen that these leaves were getting annihilated. You can see here the slugs have annihilated all those leaves and made an absolute mess of them. I can't believe the sun's coming out. It's the middle of winter and it's been about 9 or 10 degrees throughout the day here. Finally we've got some sun, just so that it can make shadows and make it difficult for me to try and do some filming. As you can tell, I'm not great at filming. These outer leaves here that have been wrecked by the slugs, these slimy little suckers have gotten in here and destroyed it. All we need to do is tear the leaves off like this, throw those away, and the wombok cabbage will start to spread its leaves and the inner leaves will become outer leaves and everything will become good again. Before we do that, it's really worthwhile coming down here of a night time with a torch, a set of gloves on a wet night, and just grab every single one of those slimy little suckers and pull them off the leaves and dispose of them. Now if you're wanting to come and do this of a night time and you haven't had rain to make the garden wet, you can simply just give the garden a bit of a squirt with a hose. That way all the plants will be wet, the slugs will all come out, and then hopefully your plants will start to look more like this lettuce here and less like the wombok cabbage that I've got over here. As I said, it's rather embarrassing. So I'll take all of these leaves off here. I came out last night with a pair of gloves, a torch, and gave it a bit of a squirt in the afternoon before I came out in the night time, and I managed to pull 119 slugs out of this little tiny section of garden. So it's really, really worthwhile doing. And then once you've got rid of the slugs, then as I say, just take these outer leaves off, tear them off, and the plant will start to spread and the inner leaves will come out further and your cabbage will come good. The other thing that you might have noticed in the garden down here, which has come about again because I haven't been down here looking at this section of the garden, but rather I've been caught up I should say, with a lot of other projects. As a result, some of these lettuce have gotten quite tall, and when they do get tall, they end up becoming a little bit bitter. And what's happening is the plant is starting to head towards developing seed pods at the top. So this plant here, hopefully you can see that there if it'll focus okay, the plant's starting to bolt or head to seed. So I guess if I can be cheeky and say there's a very technical way of being able to fix this problem, and that's with a pair of these. Simply dive in, do it with two hands so you don't look like an idiot trying to do it with the secateurs while you're holding the camera. But if you take over the secateurs to the lettuce plants that's starting to get too tall, when you get those lettuce plants, if you take the secateurs and cut them off about halfway, I don't think this one's going to let me do it either. Always looks silly if you try and do things like that one-handed. I look like a goose, but I don't care. You'll see once you've chopped them off there, hopefully you can see on the top of that lettuce there's a little bit of a milky substance starts to come out of the stem. That's no issue. Because we've taken the heart out of that red oak leaf lettuce, now the lettuce will start to spread outwards again and it won't be trying to head towards seed. Now it usually only does that in summer, or in our case during winter if you get one of those surprising weeks where it's really warm for a week. Sometimes these plants don't know whether they're Arthur or Martha because you've gone from cold weather to hot weather and they don't know what's going on. So here's another one over here. You can see this red oak leaf lettuce over there. We could go along and give it the chop like we've done to this one. bring them all back down to the right size, and then they'll continue to spread out and continue to give us nice food like this green oak leaf lettuce here. Lettuce will grow right through winter, and they actually make a lovely addition to many winter meals, and they grow really, really well. So it's worthwhile having them in winter. If ever you see them starting to bolt or head to seed, do what we've talked about just here. And as for the Wombock cabbage, well, that's my fault. A little bit of garden maintenance, popping down here every 1 or 2 weeks and having a look at the plants, watching what they're doing. And if you notice you've got slugs, come out of a night time, grab those slippery little suckers and get rid of them, and make sure that your plants have got a chance to grow healthy and well. Anyhow, hopefully that's a little bit of a help with some hints as to how you might be able to do some preventative garden maintenance just by popping down and having a look at your plants and watching what they're doing before it gets too late, so that you don't end up making the mistakes that I've made here. All right, everybody, I hope that helps you in some way, and I hope you have a good time out in the garden. Happy gardening, everyone.